antara Rusia dan Ukraina menyeret negara-negara barat masuk ke dalam pusaran ketegangan geopolitik. Negara Ratu Elizabeth ini pun diketahui mengecam tindakan yang dilakukan oleh Rusia terhadap Ukraina dan bahkan telah memberikan sanksi yang cukup berat terhadap Rusia. Lalu seperti apa posisi Inggris di tengah ketegangan geopolitik ini dan di masa pemulihan ekonomi akibat pandemi? Di satu sisi, Inggris merupakan investor dan mitra dagang yang berpengaruh untuk Indonesia. Lantas seperti apa kelanjutan dari aksi investasi dari Inggris? Saya Syarifah Rama dan saya akan mengajak Anda untuk berdiskusi lebih dalam terkait dengan hal ini dalam Primeworks. Ya, dan saat ini sudah hadir bersama saya Duta Besar Inggris untuk Indonesia, His Excellency Owen Jenkins. Halo, apa kabar? Selamat siang.
Selamat siang, kabar baik, terima kasih.
Terima kasih atas waktunya, Your Excellency. So we're going forward to the first question is about the war between Ukraine and Russia. So which has been the main topic in the world for the past few weeks. So what do you think about this? How is Britain responding to the war between Ukraine and Russia? Can it be subsided in the near future?
So Russia's invasion of Ukraine has created a horrific situation there. We hope it will subside soon, but that's really up to Russia. President Putin decided with no provocation and no basis to invade another country, violating its sovereignty, violating its territorial independence, and frankly, violating international law. So we very much hope that Russia will withdraw all its forces from another country. That sense which Russia seems to have, or at least President Putin seems to have, that Ukraine is its colony, is unacceptable. And the UK is determined to do two things. Firstly, to support Ukraine and to support the Ukrainian people. And secondly, to press Russia hard to withdraw, to end their aggression in Ukraine. So we've been giving humanitarian assistance to the people of Ukraine, over £400 million so far. We've been supporting them in the multilateral development banks, and we've also been providing military assistance. We've trained in the past over 20,000 members of the Ukrainian armed forces, and we've just announced we'll be supplying another 6,000 anti-tank missiles as well as anti-aircraft missiles. So we're working hard with our partners and allies to support Ukraine, and we will keep pushing Russia to end its unprovoked aggression.
Okay, so there's a lot of things has been done, but UK has announced the new economic sanction against Russia, so including ban of exports for a few products to Russia, such as luxury goods, to the implementation of the new import tariffs. So what does this sanction actually mean?
So we want to be tough. We've introduced the toughest set of sanctions we've ever done, and our Prime Minister was clear that that's intended to increase the pressure on Russia so that they end their aggression. And you're right, there's been a lot done. So we've now sanctioned over 1,200 companies and individuals to prevent them using their assets to fund the war. Around banks, Russian banks with around $500 billion in assets have been sanctioned and can no longer access our financial systems. And we've also introduced a wide range of sanctions on individuals and on specific goods, as you've mentioned. And we will keep increasing the pressure. We believe that it's important that now that Russia has decided to attack an independent country, it shouldn't be allowed to use its resources to support that aggression. And we're determined to do our part in stopping them.
Okay, so as we know, several countries in Europe, including UK, are very dependent on Russia's in terms of energy supply. How do Britain mitigate and anticipate the energy crisis because lack of supply, especially for the gas, natural gas, and from the Russia?
Well, if you'll forgive me, actually, the UK isn't very dependent on Russian gas. So only around 4% of our gas supply comes from Russia. The majority comes from our own fields and from reliable and trustworthy suppliers like Norway, but others as well. And the same is true on oil. So the UK is in a reasonably good position. Of course, some of our partners in Europe have a greater dependency, and we've been really impressed with the bold actions that they've taken. For example, cancelling the Nord Stream 2 pipeline from Russia to Germany, because they know that although it will increase costs for them and it will impose some pain on their economies, it's the right thing to do. So we've been very supportive of our partners in Europe as they take those difficult decisions. We ourselves are looking for a more diverse supply, because I think that's a good thing. I think Putin's invasion of Ukraine has shown that it's a bad idea to be dependent on an untrustworthy and aggressive dictator. So we are looking to diversify our supply, and we are looking to support our partners in Europe as they do so.
Okay, to diversify the supply, is there any opportunity for UK to find new source of energy supply besides Russia, of course, and for example, by importing the coal from Indonesia?
Well, probably not coal, because coal makes up a very small part of our energy mix now. We will phase it out, in fact, next year. But I do think we're already diversifying our supply. So the UK has been decarbonising its energy supply by introducing a lot more renewables into our energy mix, very successfully, in fact, particularly with increased offshore wind. But I do think there's a role for Indonesia here. Indonesia is, of course, a producer of oil and gas as well as of coal. And I think although most of the gas that Indonesia produces is for domestic supply, there are opportunities for Indonesia to export that as well. And we're delighted that some of the companies which are working with Indonesia on that include the likes of BP, a British company which is investing large amounts, billions of dollars, in gas production in Indonesia.
Okay, so one of the biggest impact from the war between Ukraine and Russia is the surging of the commodity price, so which causing high inflation in various countries along with the economic recovery from the pandemic. And lately, we know that UK's inflation is rising at its fastest for the 30 years, reaching 6.2% in February 2022. So how does UK policy in dealing with this high inflation?
So I think the first thing to say is that a lot of this is the result of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, as you said. And so the first thing that we would like to see in order to help address that problem as well is a Russian withdrawal from Ukraine. I think that's the biggest single thing which could happen, and that is in Russia's hands to end their aggression. I would say that not all energy prices are surging. The price of renewable energy, of course, is not dependent on oil and gas supplies. And so I think it's another reason why the UK, but all countries around the world, are making that transition into clean energy. But we are also recognising the impact which this high inflation, which you mentioned, is having on our people. So our Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is our finance minister, made some announcements in Parliament towards the end of last week, where he did whatever he could to support those who are suffering because of this by raising tax thresholds so people keep more of their own income, by making sure that loans will be available to people to help them with their energy bills, and a whole range of other measures which we hope will mitigate or make better those impacts. But in the end, this is another cost which President Putin is imposing on the world, and it's not just impacting on Europe or the UK. Those surging commodity prices in energy, but also in wheat, in barley, will have an impact all around the world, including in Indonesia.
Okay, so very interesting discussion we have here, but we're going to continue our discussion after the break. Jangan kemana-mana karena dialog akan kami lanjutkan usai jeda berikut ini. Tetaplah bersama kami di Prime Words. The United States and its allies, including UK, as we know, insist to remove or exclude Russia from the G20 countries. So would you like to inform us more about this? What is the point of view from the UK regarding this?
I think I can quite understand the moral outrage which Russia's invasion of Ukraine has created in our allies, such as the US, and I can quite understand why there is revulsion at the idea of sitting down at the summit in November with Putin.